Hello, all of you universal basic income enthusiasts out there. Today we are meeting again to talk about UBI, what is in the news about UBI, what it what is it good for in general, and how it could impact your life directly. So you have on the one hand Marcel, and I'm going to hand over to him to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Marcel. I'm a big fan of universal basic income. I think it's the key to solving our socioeconomic problems going forward into the future, especially around automation. I think it's for that reason automation should be viewed as a good thing, because why should we have to find a new job just because a machine has taken the job and doing it for us? But should actually just free us up to do nicer things that we want to do. And I think the way to achieve that is to not force people who've lost their job to automation to be able to survive without, looking for another job and, relying on the, well, whatever is available to try and get there.
Yes, and I completely agree with Marcel. So my name is Daniela. I'm also a big fan of the idea of universal basic income. My idea of it is that it's universal, meaning for everyone, irrespective of age. So children get it as well, and yes, retirees get it as well, and even millionaires get it. And I'll get back to that later. It should be basic, meaning every single person receiving it should be able to live on it. And I don't mean a super yacht somewhere and going to Aspen or the French Alps or Swiss Alps for skiing every year. All I mean is you don't have to worry about your housing, your food, your clothing, and a little bit of extras to socialize and network with. And the last point is the I, the income, and that should be on a regular basis. Not a one off, it's not the lottery, but as a regular income into your bank account, no strings attached, no recording, no following, tracking you, not giving to you only if XYZ condition is met. No, everyone should be receiving it. And as Marcel mentioned, through automation, a lot of jobs have already been lost, and a lot more jobs will be lost in the near medium term future. And in the past, it was reasonable enough to say, okay, just go and retrain, doing something else, because there were other jobs that were coming up. And that's good if we're talking about replacing manual labor with machines, because somebody needs to repair the machines, somebody needs to build the machines. But replacing humans with something that can think at the same level, can act at the same level. It is stronger. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't get pregnant. It doesn't break a leg. It will never get old. It will never need a sick day. Well, what are you going to do then? Because the machines and the AI together, they will at some point be able to build themselves and repair themselves as well. Just putting this out there, what jobs will be left over? Now, you may have an idea. Please email us, get in touch with us any which way you want. Ideally, join us on our call here. But literally, the question is, what will be left over? And I'm going to dare say, not a lot. That's my statement for today. And the reason why I'm keen on pressing this point is the fact that I'm following the news. And again, in the news, there's yet another UBI project that is about to come to conclusion, and reports are coming up of what it may or may not show. And every time that happens, there is the opposite, the counterweight to it that says, oh, UBI is a terrible idea, people will be lazy. And when you look into the arguments, it is true people will be working less. They will not be working 80, 100, 120 hours a week, because that is not sustainable, not for anyone. Prime example is the COVID time and healthcare workers. It's okay to work a lot more hours than the usual over a few months possibly, but over 2 years, it has driven a lot of people out of the profession because it is not sustainable. So instead of working 80 hours a week, Yes, some people will choose to only work 40. I don't think that's necessarily bad. I think it's a good thing because, again, in my world, if I only work 40 hours, I then have spare time. Yeah, great. And whilst companies would love you to work for free because overtime is often unpaid, it's in the spare time where I spend my money. Yes, I do my shopping, grocery shopping or otherwise, all in my spare time. I don't do it whilst I'm at work, and that means the only time I have to spend my hard earned money is in my spare time. Now, if I don't have spare time, I'm not going to spend a lot, and that means companies have less income. Also, through automation, if if my job is changed in such a way that it either is replaced or hours are reduced, again, I have less income. And guess what? If I have less income, I can't spend that much. If I can spend that much, guess who ends up with less money than before? Companies. So please, somebody out there, explain to me, as if I'm smart, how can it happen that companies are against a universal basic income? How can a company that is trying to survive by exchanging their products for somebody else's money, how can they survive if they're losing customers because their customer base has fewer resources and less money they can give away every month? I don't understand it. It does not make sense to me because I know from experience, actually, I've been through a number of recessions now. And I know from experience, if I lose my job, if my hours are cut, the first thing that goes is my coffee latte at the weekend. And with that goes the cake. And that means I need fewer shoes because they don't weigh out that much. I know it's a corny example, but it happens. That means I eat at home more than I eat out. And you think, oh, well, restaurants, some of them aren't even good. Fine. The good ones go. Oh, sorry, the bad ones go. And then the good ones at some point follow. And it's only restaurants, only one industry. Surely there are other industries. Okay, I know from my experience, I went less often to the theater. I cut back on other discretionary spending. I changed brands I was eating. Things like that. I was cutting back on everything that did not need to happen. So tell me again, those companies that are currently employing nearly only minimum wage labor, how do they think, or who do they think is going to buy from them once people don't have enough money for discretionary spending? Sorry, I'm on a monologue here. Marcel, do you want to join in?
I think it's a great question because I think the biggest challenge to getting UBI accepted is answering that question: is who's going to do all the jobs that nobody wants to do? So all those minimum wage jobs where you scraping by and doing a job that is horrible, because that's what the minimum wage jobs are. They tend to be horrible. You know, it's the people that are desperate that are getting those jobs. Those are the ones who will quit their work. They're the ones that don't want to work anymore. So if you rely on desperate people working for a minimum wage, or even illegals working for that minimum wage, to make a profit, for your company to make a profit, and you suddenly lose all that cheap labor, then you as a company are going to struggle. I think it's that question: is who's going to do those jobs that nobody wants to do? That is the biggest challenge, and I think that's where automation comes in.
Yes.
And unfortunately, there's no financial incentive to automate the jobs that you can get minimum wage people, desperate people to do. So we have that challenge there. The higher paid jobs, because as we discussed before, it's a basic income. It's enough income for you to cover your basic needs from food, clothing, shelter, and a little bit extra discretionary spend. If you got any job that's paying more than your minimum income, then you are unlikely just to quit unless you hate your job. unless you want to get out and you've been looking for something. But people should be allowed to do that. They shouldn't be taken advantage of by, abusive or even harassing, managers and bosses, and they can't quit because they're terrified they're not going to find another job. People should be allowed to leave. But most people, it's been shown, will keep their job. It's the same as people when they win the lottery. I mean, we're not even talking about just the basic income. We're talking about a lottery. People keep their job because that's where their social life is. That's where they meet people. That's where they feel like they're contributing to. That's how they find meaning in their life. So most people are not going to quit their job. Also, it's been shown that when people are unemployed, giving them a basic income actually increases the chance that they're going to find a job. Mm-hmm. Because they don't have to spend all this time scraping some money together, begging in the street or whatever. They can actually go out and look for a job. They don't have to try and find some food or something for the day because they've got no other source of income. So giving people a basic income has been shown, and there's a recent UBI pilot in the LA that's shown that. They had a trial group of two groups of people, one which was given a UBI and one that wasn't. And the group that was given a UBI had a much larger increase in finding a job over the time period. So, it's more likely that people will find jobs than less going forward. But the interesting question is, yes, who's going to do those jobs that nobody wants to do, those really terrible jobs? And that's a microeconomic question. UBI is about solving the macroeconomic question, the macro socioeconomic question of, how do we make sure that we as a society survive going forward, overall. But if you're a business that's only interested in, getting cheapest labor, not actually worrying about who's going to buy your products, if you've got rich people that buy your product, then you don't care, that the poor people that are working for you are not buying your product. Then you have that mindset of don't want to support a UBI. But if you have a company that wants people that want to work there, and I know what it's like working with people that don't want to work there. It's really hard to get them motivated and get them working. But if you want a company where you want people, that the people are there because they want to be there, those people are there because they're going to be contributing, right? Then a UBI is the way forward. Don't have to worry about redundancies and looking for the worst people trying to get them out. Basically, just give a UBI. Anybody that doesn't want to be there will leave, right? And then you can get the people that do want to be there to get them to stay, and make your company better. So I think they're interesting questions, and we really do need to cover them in the UBI website and answer those questions. But from a microeconomic point of view, I can understand why a company won't want to support a UBI, because they rely on desperate people paying them a wage just so that they can survive.
May I just point out to everyone who's watching this video, Marcel and I never worked for the same company at the same time. Throwing that out there. I completely agree with everything you said, and pretty much it sums up my thinking about UBI as well. It frees you up to do or to pursue something you really want to do. And that also has been shown time and time again. And onto the news. There is the outcome of a new UBI study initiated by Sam Altman. The complete write-up, the final write-up is in the making. Obviously, the news gets ahead of it because they know before it comes out. The one point that caught my eye is that not only is labor market participation, also known as getting a job, going to increase if given a UBI, what also increases is people wanting to open their own company. The entrepreneurial spirit is up. People now have a safety net. They now have the opportunity to go out, try something, try it more than once if need be. Not everyone succeeds on the first trial, but go out, try it, make something. And again, my experience, it may just be the people I know, but my experience is that companies succeed more if either they collaborate or they grow a little bit. A one-man band, one-woman band, one-person band, a one-person company is fine, and many of them are successful. But ultimately, more can be done if smart people get together and develop more ideas float around, more possibilities, more connections, more of everything, and it is more likely to succeed if the group comes together. And again, if more people want to open their own shop and collaborate with others with a similar mindset, more will get done, better things will get done, and that, in my opinion, I think will lead to better outcomes for everyone. And this is where I'd like to kind of jump onto one particular word Marcel was using. He used the word society. I do think that UBI will be positive for society at large. As I mentioned, I wholeheartedly believe if people have the opportunity to try and have the safety net to open their own company, have an idea, develop it, and make something of it, it will be good for society at large. Now, back in the 70s, I believe 70s, in the UK, Margaret Thatcher was supposed to have said something along the lines of, "There is no society." I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement because society is, if I like it or not, it just is. It's there. It's how people interact with one another. It's overlaid, not quite the same, but overlaid with culture and general accepted types of behaviors and how people view each other. So it doesn't matter whether I personally like it or not, but it exists. It's there. For example, speed limit. It's codified society. Society accepts that in a 30 zone, you drive 30 and not more. It's codified, it's law, and that's that. Everything that's not law yet or has never been law and is a bit silly to be law, it's just society. For example, um, helping your neighbor where we lived in the past, building block, the elevator needed maintenance and was out for a week. Now, a lot of the other neighbors were a little mature. Say that. I'm not going to call them old, but I think 85 is a good age. And so on occasion, we offer help. It's like, do you need help with the shopping? They usually said, no, they're fine, but we were there if need be. We can walk, we can do the stairs, not a problem. This to me is society. And it doesn't matter what people think, whether it exists or not. In my opinion, it is there. It's the helping people, not because you're going to get something back, but just because you're a decent person. And in my worldview, in my thinking, having a UBI, giving people a safety net, that they're not forced to do things they don't want to do, then frees them up to be more generous, be kinder, work towards a society, be more relaxed. That also has come up in every study that I have read. People are healthier, their blood pressure comes down just because they're not stressed anymore.
Yeah.
And that is good for the whole society, not just a few people. So, sorry, coming back to the point with which I opened at the beginning, in the news, I'm I'm currently waiting for the final report, the actual report, and not just a news media summary of it, so I can give you a better update on it. But seeing the counterpart, the RUBI is really bad because we don't have slave labor anymore that work for minimum wage. Because I can't just treat the people that work for me any which way I like, but no, I have to stick to the rules and the law at the moment. That to me is quite disheartening. So I'm trying to look at the positive. There are more studies. People put their own money. So Sam Altman, he put his own money down to create this study and set it up, or have somebody set it up for him. So he's putting his own money down because he knows being on the forefront of AI, he knows that sooner or later people will not be needed anymore. And personally, I'm looking forward to that point.
Yep, me too.
And in the meantime, sorry, that was my contribution for today. Oh, I think I've unmuted myself again on purpose now. Is there anything that you would like to share, Marcel?
No, I think that's been a good coverage of where we are and what's happening in the news at the moment. I know we haven't been as active as we would like, within the UBI community. We haven't reached out to people we said we were going to reach out last time, and that's on me as well. But yeah, I'd like to basically carry that over, carry my tasks from last month over into next month, and reach out to other UBI enthusiasts and see if they want to join us.
Yes. Good. And everyone watching this video, do join us here online, of course, or find out where we are in the world at any one point, and you can join us in person. We do want to hear from all sorts of people because, again, every society has their own take on things. Every country, every city within a country has a slightly different way of looking at things, and it is important to compare ideas. As I mentioned before, the more people work together, the better the outcome. Again, there are studies and research on that topic. So join us. Let's have good conversations on it. And even if you disagree with UBI, tell us why. Tell us and show us and share your calculations that UBI is impossible to do. Because so far, the only calculations I've seen are those that suggest it's doable.
And profitable.
And profitable, yes, for everyone. So if you agree or disagree, come and join us and let's have the conversation.
Sounds good.
Okay. If there's nothing else, then thanks a lot for watching. Get in touch, help our project along, and see you at the beginning of September next month. See you
See you.
then. Bye bye.